Today, it's ChillPoint, where we read the news and it chews. Sure. I am not wearing shoes currently.
No. I am!
I'm not. Those are barely shoes.
Why are you wearing... Are those Crocs?
I know.
No,
they're
not.
knockoff Crocs.
They're knockoff Crocs.
They're
known as sloggers.
Yeah.
We got them in a
It's like a London Drugs.
It was I think actually we got them at the London Drugs in Penticton at Cherry Lane Mall when we were camping there the one time, because I realized that we had nothing but like normal ass shoes to wear on the campsite, which is fine, but when you go to the beach and you don't have like flip-flops, and we went looking for flip-flops.
They were very cheap and convenient at the time, and now Beach wears them as house slippers.
They're great.
I mean...
His slippers are also broken, so...
Crocs are like super comfortable, from what I understand, so...
Yeah, I figure if nurses can walk around all day in Crocs, I should do the same thing.
I have no issue with them. What I have an issue with is you stuck your feet in the air, basically 3 inches from my face, which looks a lot more because Paul's in the way and the screen, but it's much closer than you think.
Yeah. We have like this distance here. It looks like just kilometers of distance between, like, if we were to measure the actual distance between myself and Paul and Heather is actually like several kilometers in between, and because then it's both directions. So
it's when you go gesture with your hands, you can really see. What was that? That was one of the Dice Friends streams. I remember. I think it was Cam's Alien campaign, where he was doing a thing where he was talking and then showing it's like something like this big.
Yes.
He's cropped out in the. I was like, Cam, people aren't going to be able to see that.
Yeah, reach into the other camera feeds. Get over here so they can actually see how big it is.
Besides, it's a D&D is a thing about imagination. You can get as specific as you want. Use nanometers.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to ChillPoint, the show where we talk about all the stories we did on CheckPoint and stories we didn't do on CheckPoint, and also other random things that come up. For instance, we're all very nicely color coordinated today, I noticed.
Yes. Yeah, we all dressed up in a CheckPoint color. We all chose red because yellow and gray, I don't really have many shirts in any of those colors. So
this shirt isn't red.
It's red.
It's not. This shirt is burnt orange. This is what lighting does to you, kids. That's why lighting is so important. Get yourself some lighting from the National Lighting Council.
They have a pretty easy job, to be fair. National Lighting Council. What do you want, it dark?
Are you making fun of the lighting?
Because eventually the sun goes away.
Yeah.
National Lighting Council.
The lighting that I put money into.
Able to see
making fun of my lighting.
No, your lighting is good.
Then why can't we see you?
It's not, I think it has to do with like where I'm sitting, because if I was actually closer, you could probably see a little bit better than it is more
That's
orange.
fair.
It's just that I'm sitting more in shadow, so.
What happened with Bija's hair?
I figure if I'm going to grow it out, then you get to enjoy all of it.
It's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. It's not like it's gone anywhere.
I feel like you, as the viewers, have actually a pretty step-by-step view of what happened to Bija's hair, in the sense that you've seen it every week for the past couple months.
It's probably more startling for them than it is for me, because it's just getting longer and longer for me, and I'm just not noticing it as much. I'm just like, it's always been this long, right? But then they get to see it be different every week, so
It's not that different every week.
It's, I guess, well...
Except when you, like, go through the effort of making it look larger than it is.
I'm not growing this out because I want long hair. I'm letting it grow because I'm still a little trepidatious about going to a barber. We're allowed to go to the barbers here in BC now. I'm just not really feeling like I should yet.
I like that growing it out sounds like a kind of active process, as opposed to what it really is, which is just not getting it cut.
Yes. How long here are you being this lazy?
Actually, while we're at it, can I just like subvert a few comments that will absolutely come up on this video in YouTube and yet have nothing to do with anything? COVID is happening. That's why we can't film anything. So stop asking.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We can do CheckPoint because we can be the distance apart. We can't film a lot of other things because we can't yet. We'll figure things out.
I'm surprised that is things that people ask, but I guess you delete most of those before
I do
see them.
I have a big delete button and I use it very aggressively now.
A lot of people just don't realize that it's like, oh, well, this is a, either they're like, we need you to keep making the thing, and it's like, it makes it's not even just that it makes it twice as difficult, right? It isn't. It's a step process. Like if things have just gotten like, I don't want to say exponential because everyone uses the word exponential, but it is kind of like to do something else. Like to be like, well, now try to film this thing, but film it in a way so that you don't have to stand right next to each other, but make it look like you're standing right next to each other. It's like that just makes it way, way more complicated.
Yes.
So, yeah. So we can't really do it because it just takes longer to do it. But what we can do is ChillPoint.
Indeed. And we can do CheckPoint, which obviously if you have not watched yet, you can go check that out on the Loading Ready Run YouTube channel, which... and it was a fun episode. I felt it was not unusually so, but maybe more so than usual, a ranty episode.
A little bit.
I felt
about
like,
Epic and Apple.
I felt like there were several stories that were written and came from a real place, both for you and Graham.
Yeah, I don't know. So Kathleen was the one who wrote the flight sim story, and that was just kind of I think more of a fun look at how just Flight Simulator is now just a collection of Google Maps curios, right? Like things that you'll be like, I didn't expect to see. Like, remember when Apple Maps came out and there was like things that were just like Inception? Right. Yeah. And I think that's what Flight Sim has going for it now too.
Well, yeah, whatever system or data they're using because they get like the satellite map and then they use elevation data to, make it extrude everything up and do different things with it. But obviously sometimes it messes up. And when you have the entire world, it's hard to, QA that.
No, absolutely.
Because you have to literally look at everything in the entire world. So sometimes things fall through the cracks, or giant cracks appear in the ground, or whatever.
Stone monoliths, or
apparently
impossible buildings.
The stone monolith is, you can see it actually. It's like it's a palm tree at the elevation of a palm tree, but then it's just been extruded down with no texture on it. Like you can see that's what's happened, right? And so it's like the top of a palm tree and then gray down to the ground. Mm-hmm. Which is one of those weird things where it's like, where it's sort of the out. So, and I presume like for regular trees, they have some sort of system that converts so that doesn't happen with normal trees.
Right.
But I guess whatever their system wasn't set up for palm trees.
Well, I mean, so we're gonna get interesting patch notes out of this game over time, which will be fun because those are always great to read when it's like this 212 story building is really 2 stories.
Yes, reduced. Yeah, fixed decimal place on height of building in Sydney.
But Beach, you were telling me that there's a very specific building in the game that happens to be there that you were very excited about.
That we worked into the story too, and everyone got really happy about because I was like, I really want to use this, and thank you, Paul, for pulling it. Grover House is in the game. Somebody on Twitter went to their own house and was looking. They're like, oh, cool, I can actually find my own house in the game. Hang on a minute, I know it's about 20 minutes south of here. And they flew their plane south and found Grover House, which is this infamous house that was in a home improvement thread on Something Awful, and then gained a lot of inertia on the internet outside of it. And you can tell you're looking at Grover House. It's a house that basically this dude drew up himself. They say he did all the plans for an MS Paint, and I don't know because I didn't read the thread. But you can tell you're looking at Grover House because the front fascia of the house has 4 windows on it. Each window is a different window. They're different shapes. They don't all go together, and you don't really think about that in terms of architecture until you see somebody who's not an architect design a house, and then you realize you're like, oh right, we do things a certain way. We make houses and buildings and stuff look a certain way because they actually look normal to the eye. They actually like become like semi-pleasing or something. That's not to talk about like McMansions and stuff and like get into the McMansion hell stuff, which I love. But just even from a point of architecture, this dude's house is like weird, and it gets even weirder when you go inside. And like, it's an internet meme, and I was really happy to see that this thing showed up.
In the shoulder graphic.
Yeah, in the shoulder graphic.
Was actually not my intention. I don't know what Grover House is, but so it just happened to be that was the picture that was like the most prominent picture for
with this plane just flying right into it.
Yeah, that was like that was like when I searched for like Microsoft Flight Simulator, the whatever map. That was like the first couple images were all variations on that one. So I was like, put that in.
Do you have that as a thing where if they're like, oh, we're doing a story about this game series and there's like a lot of people we have to reference, when you're searching for those people's names, do you have to like make sure you've got the right person like outside of just like an image search? Because
I try
you wouldn't want to look embarrassed.
I try to, and usually, when we're actually about to film, I'll like go through with Graham and Beej, like go through the images that I made to make sure, like in case I. Also, often the person who writes the story will like reference pictures that they want to use in it. Well, they're doing that more now because I've been asking people to do it.
Yeah, we realize how important it is.
Because sometimes they'll be like in the here we can start talking about actual stories, like the Mario one.
Right.
You reference 4 different copies of Mario Monopoly, and I don't know which of those 4. So luckily you link to them.
Especially because I don't actually. Oh, neat. That's cool. The Mana Leak on Twitter, just as a thing for Flight Sim really fast, they found the Woodcock airstrip in from RoadQuest, and as they're flying by, they're like, I can see why it's not marked as an actual airport or airstrip to land at, because in the game it looks a certain way. Anyway, back to the Mario thing too, because I also said for the Monopoly things, we should talk about the story in more detail, but for the Monopoly bits, I was like, put this one, I made a comment in the document and then linked that comment to a link to say, this is the one I want to have here. This is the one I want to have here. This is the one I want to have here. And as we were setting up, you said, Beej, you literally say the words Mario Kart here and you did not provide me with Mario Kart Monopoly. And I was like, oh, I thought I did. So we had to find the right image and put that in the right spot during setup. But it's, with us being able to provide stuff, and now that that's happening, I can also then ask for things like, hey, for this part where I'm going to reference my shirt, don't put up a shoulder graphic. Heather will just take a screenshot of the shirt and use it as a shoulder graphic.
The night before, Beej came into the room while I was working on something else, and he was like, okay, so I'm writing this story. If I do this thing and I do this, can you do this? Or is that like too much? And I'm like, no, I know how to do masking and stuff. I can fit that in there. Should I get Paul to put in like a fake graphic so you know which one? No, don't do that. You're making extra work for Paul.
Yeah, because we've done it. I've done quite often where will reference something that was in a previous episode of CheckPoint. And so we'll throw up a screenshot from that episode of CheckPoint, which is always fun. But the episode that is actually currently being filmed going up into the corner is a little trickier to do live.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and like sometimes I'll go in and I'll tweak timing on those images if it's like, oh, if that could be a second faster because it's something I can add. But most of the time I try to leave that because that's extra work for me to do.
Yeah.
I love, I did see in the comments, I love somebody was like, it's like, great job, Paul, on putting the graphic in the corner. And then somebody responded being like, that was Heather, I actually did that. And then the person was like, well, okay then, I rescind my congratulations from Paul and give it to Heather instead. I'm like, what? I did all the other graphics.
I don't know why
Don't
we
I
both
get
can't have
something?
congrats.
Yeah,
like
right.
like you do a lot of when I had to do all the layering work post production, my editing time was a lot.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why being able to go back helped us so much. Because it does speed
so
things
much
up.
nicer to be able to do that in such a shorter period of time.
So the Mario story, the whole reason why I did that 35th anniversary of Mario thing, the whole reason was just so I could say oohoo over, like, it's just oohoo. I just wanted to be able to bring up the glue stick thing, and I was like, how do I talk about this really weird thing that is just misses the point? Because it should have been like a Paper Mario tie-in. It would have been so same month practically, so perfect.
Are those glue sticks actually like a new thing, or have they just been producing those for a while?
This is a thing that, like, Oohoo's specific, the Mario branded ones, and not just that, they're doing Mario branded correction tape and Mario branded like glitter glue or some shit like that, like slime glue or whatever it is they're doing. It sounds like that's the thing they're doing for the 35th anniversary celebration. I don't know why they decided that, hey, we should Mario this shit up, other than maybe it's like, well, kids are going to go back to school and they love to have stuff on there. And I was just like, I'm mad about the fact you didn't include Paper Mario, but I can't just do 2 sentences of a story that just says, ooh, who's doing this? Why the fuck didn't you do this? End of story. It's like, no, I should do more than that. I should really, well, it's the 35th anniversary. Let's talk about all the really ridiculous stuff. And as I started going through it, I'm like, oh, well, I can talk about the Lego because that's something you can spend a lot of money on. I can talk about these controllers. And I realized that was funny. I could talk about Monopoly. And I'm like, yeah, the Monopoly thing is really stupid because I'm like, but they already have Mario Monopoly. Oh my God, they have so many Mario Monopolies.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I worked in a board game store. I've seen all of them. They're all bad. If this year had gone the way it was supposed to, without a pandemic, the theme park was supposed to open this year as well. Right? And so that would have been probably a big thing for the 35th anniversary. There's still like some rumors about some games that are supposedly coming out in time for that, and we'll see if that actually happens. But this is the year that Nintendo's like, oh, we're gonna do a lot. And I know you brought up the year of Luigi, and I know for writing purposes, you know that they did more than the thing that you did.
I know.
So you don't have to nitpick about that.
Nope.
Because I know somebody did mention that he got a
New
year
Super
of
Luigi U, I think.
3DS.
I mean, his game was the thing that sort of started that, right?
He had
it was
Luigi's Mansion 2 came out that year.
Luigi's Mansion 2 and New Super Mario Brothers Luigi were both came out. I think that's what sort of made it the year of Luigi.
Yeah, they did those 2 things. They did a publicity stunt thing where a guy in a Luigi outfit rode the L train in, that'd be Chicago?
Yeah.
And they...
Really? That was the publicity stunt?
That's
a guy wearing a Luigi outfit. What? Are they sure that wasn't a publicity?
A mascot outfit. Let's be fair. This guy dressed up in a Luigi mascot outfit.
Could it have been just like a guy with a big mustache who happened to be wearing green and like your publicity
going to work that day?
Yeah, your publicity stunt shouldn't be easily confused with somebody just doing cosplay or going to work. Like, are they sure it was like an official thing and it wasn't just some random cosplayer or person who happened to be
their
wearing
Twitter
green.
account was going on about it. It's just the only reason I know that happened. I was paying very, very much attention to the Year of Luigi because they were like, "Oh, we're doing the Year of Luigi," and it's like, "Oh, finally, Luigi." Even though it's like basically the same year as Mario, is gonna get recognition. That's cool. So, why didn't you take this opportunity to release a Paper Luigi game, Nintendo?
Yeah.
I mean, they were already releasing 2 Luigi games that year. It's pretty good.
So
Yeah.
Mario's got so many games. Luigi needs more. Where's Luigi's Paint Mobile?
I didn't know what Super Luigi like what Super Mario Brothers Luigi was like as a game.
Yeah.
And I got it. I was checking it out the other day, and because I was like, oh, I liked Super Mario Brothers U, Super Mario Brothers U, but I played most of it, so this is just like more. I'm great for more Super Mario Brothers, sure. And I got that. I didn't realize it's like basically like the Lost Levels thing. Like it's everything is as hard as like way harder, and you start every level with only 99 seconds, which actually really sucks. Like so, you start the level with like the sound effect of you running out of time. Which means so you've got these new, harder levels that you don't have time to explore. It's actually not that fun. I don't like it very much. But it made me think, like, is this what Luigi's life is like? Like, Mario just, like, cruises through the easy versions of levels with as much time as he wants. And then when Luigi tries to do the same level, it's a harder version that he only has 99 seconds to complete. Like, that's why he's... He's like, "Oh, you're always whining, Luigi. What the hell, man?"
I agree. I don't like the idea of like new levels you can't explore with the time pulled down. But at the very least, I don't want the sound of the constant your time is running out. That would be like, oh, you're gonna play the hard mode of this game where this one character only gets a half heart. Well, get ready to have the beeping dying sound the entire time.
Oh, that would be the worst.
Yay! You get to listen to the baby crying the entire level.
Yeah.
Yes, New Super Luigi U, I believe is what they called it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, extremely well-designed levels that I would have liked to explore, but didn't have time because you have to sprint through them all because you have no time. So, I only played it like a little bit, and then I was like, this is not actually very fun. Yeah, but I guess if you were big on Mario, you probably would. And if you had played a lot of the previous one, so that because they're the same levels but kind of tweaked to make them more difficult. So, yeah.
I mean, I bring up the idea of like a Paper Luigi because they, in a lot of the Paper Mario games, when you run into Luigi, he talks about the adventures he's been having, or there's like a newspaper or something that does, and so this idea of like,
oh, I see. That he's like
being able to play that thing. Well, yeah, I'm playing Thousand Year Door right now, and every time you run into him, he talks about like this waffle kingdom and like
he's having
this thing, and it sounds like a lot of fun.
There's a waffle kingdom, and you're not allowed to go there.
He's having I don't want to say orthogonous. That's not the right word, but he's having parallel adventures because orthogonous is not parallel. He's having parallel adventures to you. As you're having your adventure in similar kingdoms, just somewhere else.
It's something like you went off to do your adventure, and you both lived together in this house. And while Mario was gone to try to help Princess Peach and Crystal Stars or whatever, another letter showed up from like I think it's Princess Eclair or something, and he was like, "Well, you weren't here, so I went and did it for you." And like, but I want to go find out about this food-related kingdom.
Wow, yeah, that does seem like a real missed opportunity. It's like, you go to the Paper Kingdom, I'll go to the delicious breakfast kingdom. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody tried to stomp on you? I had brunch.
So yeah, I guess the Mario story is it's Mario's 35th anniversary, which means that in 5 years it'll be Mario's 40th anniversary, which 10 years after that will be Mario's 50th anniversary. And the slow march of time continues on, and you may always spend money on things with his face on it.
Although, as chat pointed out, as the people in the comments pointed out, 35 is the milestone for being able to be elected president in the United States.
And that did bother me because I was like, but that doesn't mean he can be elected. But then, as Heather pointed out, he is technically from Brooklyn, isn't he?
I don't know. Yeah,
He was born in the United States.
Yeah, if he was born in Brooklyn, then yes, he would theoretically. I believe those are the only two requirements. You have to be born. You have to be born in the United States, and you have to
be a true rockin' daddy.
Be at least 35.
Yeah.
Because when I believe when that was set up, that the idea was that you have to be a certain age so that if you become like a dictator, at least you'll die relatively soon. But people didn't live as long then.
No,
35. We got to push it way higher.
They did not think that shit through, did they? I mean, that was the whole point when they're like, "Oh wait, term limits, right? We should enact that. That's a great idea."
I mean, he is Italian, but that's just his heritage, from what I understand. That doesn't mean he wasn't like born in Brooklyn. The cartoon had him in Brooklyn.
Yes,
so he could have been born in Brooklyn.
And his stereotype is very much like Italian American, not actual Italian.
Yeah, and if you take into account the fact that, so you're like, oh, but what about his accent, right? It's very like, Mamma mia, pizza pie, like that kind of like stereotypical Italian person, but who learned English as a second language kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I would then say to you that there is a preponderance of North American children who are growing up speaking with British accents because they do nothing but watch Peppa Pig. So I think that Mario, growing up when he was a small child, just watched a lot of like Italian American TV with like Italian expats that came over, and he watched all of that, and that's where he got his accent from.
Mm. My brother worked and lived in Italy for 2 years, and he was saying that even now, any Italian whose name happens to be Mario is stuck with Super Mario as a thing forever.
Yeah. Sorry, dude.
Yep.
Imagine being named Luigi at that point too, though, right? Like, yeah. I wonder if that kind of gets old as well, or if people just kind of don't think about Luigi.
Well, they might just ask. They might just do that thing that they do to Luigi in the game, where they just ask about Mario.
Yeah, it means that you can't have like you can't be like good friends with a guy named Mario though, or else it'll be just you're doomed.
You're the Luigi, yeah.
Yeah. Forever.
Other news: delete your Facebook. That wasn't a story. That's just a bit of information.
Some good advice.
But no, this is this whole thing about that the Oculus, which obviously was bought by Facebook a few years ago, is going to be changing their system so that you have to use your Facebook login in order to log into your Oculus, and including developers even. So developer accounts will also be done through Facebook accounts, which is the thing where it's like, it makes sense in the sense of, it's like, oh, it's just all one account. And, it's obviously, it's like, when you do, like your YouTube account is connected to like Google stuff. And so it kind of makes sense but Facebook has this extra level where it's this, massive social network thing as well, right? Where you're like your real name and all of your friends and all this kind of stuff is associated with it, which is less so with Google, even though Google's tried to make it a social network. They keep failing. And so it's more like there's a more sort of direct connection, and you can't, and people don't have, or they're not supposed to have like multiple Facebook accounts, that we have multiple Google accounts. And so having it tied directly to your Facebook account does add an extra level of sort of creepiness. That, like as you say in the story, the idea, it's like that how stupid you look while wearing a 3D headset will now just be added to the big chunk of information that Facebook is tracking about you.
Yeah. Now that's starting in October. If you have an Oculus account already, they're not gonna get rid of that completely until it was like January 2023, I think.
That's when the cutoff is, yeah.
Yeah, but they have said that on any new hardware, you will just have to be a Facebook account at that point, which I think there's been according to the article, it looked like there was maybe speculation that they were planning to pull out new hardware soon.
And I think also they've said any new software features may require a Facebook account too.
Now, there's this weird sense that I have where whenever a company says, we're going to do this, all Oculus accounts are going to just become Facebook accounts, and you're all just going to have to tie that stuff to your Facebook account, and that's just how that's going to be, because we're saying we're going to do this. And then they say, oh, but by the way, if you already have an Oculus account, we're going to let that ride for the next 3 years because ... Like they don't actually make it very clear. It's like for your convenience, we're going to tie all these accounts together so you only have one account to come to. Isn't that convenient? There's a net benefit to you doing this, but we're not going to do it for people already in the program for the next 3 years because ... because we know that you wouldn't want to do this in the first place because we know that you don't like Facebook because we know that this will just get done like a fucking lead balloon. Like
it's sort of an acknowledgement that it's not something people are going to all jump on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole story though, right? It's like there's nothing. There's the fact that the information says that they're going to use this information for ads and other features and things because that's what they're going to do. But there's nothing so far that's like, can you turn this off from your feed? Will people get to see these things? Do you make it so it's hidden? Is it a all or nothing thing? Because like if you're a dev and you're working on a game, maybe you don't want your stuff going online like that.
I mean, yeah, that's a tricky one. Like how much we don't quite know how much information that they're pulling from it, but more consolidation of your sort of digital footprint is probably not great, especially in the context of Facebook.
Yeah, I find VR is still a very limiting format in terms of like user install base and still trying to get it to be cheaper so more people can enjoy it, and some of the physical limitations that some people can't do it at all with motion sickness and whatnot. And I feel like taking away your login and making you have to use Facebook is potentially narrowing it some more.
Yeah, and it's just like, and you say like, and obviously this isn't that surprising in the sense of we know that, obviously Facebook has bought Oculus a long time ago. And so the idea that there's going to be a transition doesn't seem that odd, or that surprising. But I think the thing, and especially, I could see, especially from a developer standpoint, like, you don't necessarily want your developer sort of account persona to be connected to your real or your personal account persona, and like stuff like that. Like you can only have one Facebook account, right? And so it seems like it's like if you had to, if there was an account, which I guess an Oculus account is an account that Facebook authorizes and controls, but it just isn't your Facebook account. That's less of an issue. But when it's actually your Facebook account and now it's connected together with all the other stuff that you might be doing on Facebook, it's a little weird.
Wasn't the Oculus kickstarted too?
It was. I mean, way back in the day.
Originally?
Yeah.
Like I know it got sold and bought and stuff, but originally like its funding came from.
Yeah, it was originally the biggest. I mean, at the time, it was the biggest Kickstarter campaign. And then after it had been out, after like the sort of prototype unit came out for a little bit, and it was doing really well, then Facebook bought it. But it was I always thought it was a little weird as a Kickstarter though, because it was like they had all this buzz about it, and they had like stuff on their website from like John Carmack and from Valve and from Microsoft and all these like big companies being like, this is a really great thing, that is going to be like the future. But it's like all these companies that could easily have funded it and bought it or paid for it to be developed, and they were still doing a Kickstarter, and it was like, why is this a Kickstarter? Why isn't this just something that Microsoft is doing or Valve is doing, which they have kind of now, or did anyway.
Sometimes Kickstarter is just an elaborate pre-order service. Sometimes it isn't, obviously.
Shenmue 3.
And then there's also going to be 2 geese. Double goose. Double goose is double fun.
That was a good way to end that direct.
I wonder if that's
Indie World.
I wonder how good that's going to be, because I don't know. Like I played my couple hours of Untitled Goose Game. I finished it. I have felt no real need to go back and try to speed run it or do any finish all the other little things, dump more stuff in the lake. It never. Sometimes some of those extra things don't really mean much to me. I had fun playing it while I did. I imagine playing with 2 players will be really cool. I'm not feeling the push. But I imagine some people will probably like being, because there'll probably be some 2-player things.
I remember going to PAX when they were first showing a playable demo and sitting down with a person on, I think I was with Kathleen. We were on the bench, and Kathleen played, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And stuff, but I think if that had been 2-player at that point, that would have been really fun. Is a term in terms of you need a game that you want to do cooperative play with. Being a couple of geese can't be bad. I mean, you imagine having a kid right now who maybe can't figure out all the puzzles of the game, but wants to just run around as a goose, and then you can help them out by being another goose.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I've been sort of playing online games with my brother a little bit, who's living in Boston right now, and I could definitely see this as a fun thing to do with him. I appreciate that, despite the orneriness of geese as they're presented in the game, the 2 geese work together. They're it's not like a competitive, or they're not stealing things from each other or something, or maybe they are.
I mean, you probably could.
Well,
because
that's what they show in the
games
demo,
depend on who the players are.
Yes, like any other sort of cooperative thing. That's the thing about when people are like, "Oh, but you could play with your child," and I'm like, I'm very objective oriented when I play games. That it's I'm trying to get from X to Y, and if I'm playing with a 5-year-old who's running around in fucking circles, who's honk 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 all the time, and I'm like, I'm just trying to.
Kids
if I was
suck
playing
at speedrunning video games.
If I was going to play Journey, and my partner was some sort of 5-year-old kid on the other side, and I don't, but they're just running around in circles. Am I supposed to go with them? Am I supposed to do these things? I would just be driven up the goddamn wall.
Look, when you play games with kids, especially young kids, and they're just playing around, the whole point is not about the objectives of the game so much as the time you're spending with them and the fun that you're having, and not accomplishing anything.
Yes, thus Minecraft.
Big
Yes.
shout outs.
Yes.
Big shout outs to the original Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where the second player could grab the controller and play as Tails.
Yes.
And Tails was
Yes.
invincible,
Loves that.
and it would always just show up and follow you around, and there was no way he could die, and he could pick up
But he
Sonic
could still
and carry him
interact.
around. But you could still play around with him. That was the best, friend who doesn't know how to play / little brother / whatever.
Yeah, where's my dedicated Tails game?
I
need that.
Mario Galaxy has that, where the second player has the controller and can just pick up all the stars and stuff, and it's so you're going from planetoid to planetoid, and the second player can just be whoop, and it can pick up all the little they look like confeto to me, but they're can just pick up the stars by waving the thing at them. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually, that you give them something to do that's not exactly play based but helps.
Or the
I also
you can control the hat in the new Mario One Odyssey.
oh yeah. I also just think that like if you want to play this game and maybe you're having a hard time with the puzzles because like especially sometimes we can get into the bar area trying to walk around people can get a little hard because you can get caught.
Yeah.
Having a second person who can play distraction for you so you can make your goals happen.
Yeah.
I doubt they're changing the levels up.
So I mean, I'm sure they'll have new objectives, but somebody mentioned in the chat, and now I kind of want to see. I just want to see this little like farm or where the little small town where Untitled Goose Game takes place. 100 geese all drop down and have a battle royale.
Yes. That's next year's
just destroy the entire thing.
That sounds like a good April Fool's Day joke game to have launch, so you got some time.
They don't even need like a bus. It's just like you see a bunch of geese in the air just flying overhead in a V formation, and then all of a sudden you guys just all land. And everyone just like in town just kind of freaks out, and it's like nobody say anything. Maybe we won't get completely ruined here.
All right. Other stuff.
Oh,
let's see.
The Fall Guys story, actually.
Oh, yes. This is actually, a couple of Fall Guys stories. One, of course, was this Fall Guys Battle of the Brands, where there's people are bidding charity donations to become to have their avatar or have a costume designed for their brand in Fall Guys, and it's got what was the last total, Bish?
So as of yesterday, and with no new bid today, Tushy is back on top. The bidet manufacturers, which I had barely heard of. I don't have a Tushy bidet. I have a Toto bidet. Tushy's back on top with $420,069.69, beating out the previous bid of $420,000 or $420 and $69. $420,069. Yeah. So they bid up an extra 69 cents just so they could actually get back on top of the thing again.
What is the marketing budget of a bidet company?
This is the thing, because if this was Toto doing this, I'd be like, well, Toto's a multinational company, and they make all sorts of like plumbing and everything else. I can believe they could put out $420,000.
Are you suggesting that they're flushing all their money down the drain, Paul?
I think this is a venture capitalist thing. This is like, we have a bunch of VC money left, and we're just going to dump it into this.
You're no fun.
It's got to be what this is. It's like we have so much money, and who gives a shit about anything anymore?
I'm Beach. Let's be serious. I'm Heather. I want to make a pun. Let me have it.
It's a good pun. I don't think anyone disagrees that it was. I think everyone believes that it was a good pun. I believe so as well.
Anyway, so yeah, the people from all stripes, various like YouTubers, Mr. Beast and various people who sort of have made their name on YouTube by giving away a lot of money. I don't know how those channels work, but apparently that's their thing. Or all this charity stuff, which is great. Clearly they didn't think the actual like bidding process out that thoroughly, because it's just like a Twitter thread that is full of, people just being like, oh, this is cool, or I bid all of my money, or I will bid a kidney, or different stuff like that. Or it would be great if KFC was in this, but I'm not KFC.
Yeah.
It's like the worst desert bus auction. But like without the desert bus mods there to like, ban or mute people who make fake bids. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if somebody came in and was like, KFC said they're giving $300,000, and KFC's like, what? No, what did we? Huh? Yes, did we?
I mean,
guess
they
we
can
did.
just ignore that because they didn't respond.
But
there was an adult video game company that bid $110,000, and Fall Guys was like, "Yeah, sorry, we have to yeet your bid because we're not doing anything that is 18 plus or not safe for work."
Which, I mean, makes sense given probably the demographic for that game.
Yep.
which is not. I feel like not safe for work is. So for two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, so many of us are working from home now. The definitions of not safe for work, I feel like, have changed a little bit.
But
Two.
they want their game to be streaming safe.
Two, I would put forward that at most jobs, if you are playing Fall Guys at your job, you're still going to get in trouble. Like maybe like that's still not that safe for work is what I'm saying.
Again, streamer is a job now.
Yeah. I mean,
and you want people to be able to stream your product, so
safe for streams, sure. But I don't know. Safe for work if your job is playing video games just doesn't quite have the same ring to it somehow.
fair enough.
That's why we
Not like a bidet ring.
You know what? I was like, what part of the bidet is the ring? You know what? I don't care.
I think if you think about it hard enough, you'll figure it out.
And then in other Fall Guy news, there's this great story about so a very popular streamer by the name of Tim the Tatman, who is incredibly popular. In fact, has 200,000 people watching him at various times, and has been playing Fall Guy for the past few days, and could not win. He had played dozens and dozens. I'd just like to point out, by the way, that we've streamed Fall Guy once, and I think we won like 3 or 4 times. Our team, one of our team won during the thing, but that's we are Major League Gamers. Anyway, so this guy has been streaming and playing this game and to the point where him not winning became such a meme that the Fall Guy PR and Twitter account started trolling him about it. Which I think is. So they started adding on to the like, hey, noticed you haven't won yet. And then of course, as more people, because there's so many people watching him, the chances of somebody watching who's playing Fall Guy being in his Fall Guy game goes up. Yeah. And so people started like trolling him in the game and like blocking him and stuff just to mess with him.
Yeah,
that's not cool. That's not cool.
That's a thing that happens. There's some people who play the game just to stand at the end of the line and push people into the pink goo or whatever so that they can't win.
But Tim the Tatman did win.
The great troll from the Fall Guys one saying they tweeted him and says, "Hey Tim, we just ranked all of our players by how well they are doing, and I thought you'd like to know that you aren't actually in last place. There is one other account that's done worse than you, but it's actually a developer account that we use for testing AFK."
Ouch! Burn.
Wow. I definitely give it to the Fall Guys people that it's like they're seeing that, because when this game was, before it came out, like a few weeks ago, before it had come out, I'd heard that this thing is in beta and that, do you guys want to come play this? And this could be very interesting. And whatever blitz they're doing marketing wise to get this in front of so many people has been really good. And to just then have like a bunch of people be like, yeah, we'll take all the codes, we'll start playing this. And this has definitely worked out in their favor. On the plus side, they made a fun game that people enjoy playing, and also they've done a great job with pushing it out to enough people to make sure that it gets seen by lots and lots of people. Because this is one of those games where it's like critical mass is important, right? The more people you have playing it, the better chance of having more interesting games.
Sorry, here's another one. Another tweet from the Fall Guys account. Tim, I think our servers are struggling to cope with your losing streak. Just checking with the server team now to confirm. I can't believe this. No server has seen such loss. Please, just stop losing.
Jesus.
I mean, the fact that he continued playing for like 8 days until he won, and taking like burns like that.
Yeah.
That's
And then he did it, began trending on Twitter when he did win, which I think was yesterday or the day before.
He got like 5,000 subs that day too.
Yeah. So, don't
like
feel
a
too
ton
bad
of people
for him.
showed up. Exactly, right? It's like, I don't feel that bad that he had to put up with that for 8 days.
I mean, yeah, I feel like if you have a game that you're playing and you're not winning and that's what you're trying to do, that can get frustrating. But if you're still trying to play, you must be gaining some sort of enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's people in the comments were like, he finally did it and he did it. We're both trending on Twitter and I was very afraid that something bad. It's like, oh my God, who did what? Oh no.
Who is he and what did he finally did?
What did he do? Honestly, that's fair.
The absolute madman. Yeah. So Fall Guys has definitely been, it is definitely the game of the moment right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's a couple more stories here. There's been an update to Call of Duty Warzone. There's a big ARG going on in preparation for Black Ops Cold War. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. ARG being augmented reality game, augmented reality game. So there's a bunch of real world stuff, and a code was leaked out on the special website that turned out to be the code for a bunker in Call of Duty Warzone, which is like the Call of Duty battle royale kind of game. And then some people were like, oh man, this is great. And they go in and they did all the code and did a bunch of stuff. And they go in and there's a giant friggin' nuke in there.
Yeah. This huge missile in this silo. It's a silo.
Yeah, there's a nuke in a silo. And there's in the video I saw, there's steam and stuff around the nuke as if it's not dormant. And so people are like, this seems bad.
Mm-hmm.
Is this related to the fact that the game this is advertising is called Cold War?
There's definitely this prevailing theory that they're like, oh, maybe what this means is that they're going to nuke the map. They're going to get rid of the Warzone map that's currently up and introduce a brand new place to play Warzone. I don't play Warzone, so I have no idea how possible this is or not. But yeah, definitely the idea of oh, we're promoting Cold War and check it, ICBMs. Isn't that great?
But it's they're doing this battle royale stuff. They're fighting back and forth and shooting each other and doing all this stuff. And then somebody opens up one of these bunkers and it's like, hang on. Everybody stop shooting each other. Just a sec.
Did you know?
This seems important. Maybe we should focus on this.
Yeah, there's 100 of us here all the time. Should we not maybe focus on this problem a little bit? Yeah.
EVE Online has a problem with aliens. Well, it's not a problem in the sense that it was intended to be, but I think we may have touched on it on a few stories in the past. But there's been a very long coming. I think this has been happening for more than a year, and it was little teeny weedy details and possible sightings and different things that some aliens were going to show up in the EVE Online world, which previously didn't have any aliens in it.
Now, I'm not saying it's a problem with aliens, but it's a problem with aliens.
Exactly. It's aliens.
There you go, guys. Gave you what you wanted.
And then, over the past while, the aliens have been encroaching more and more and getting more aggressive. And to the point now where they have apparently. So there's the stuff I don't know about Eve that I've found out while reading the story. There's two of the major trade hubs in Eve Online were previously like that people went back and forth and traded stuff all the time. And they were in relatively safe areas in the what's called, I think, low sec or high sec or whatever. It's where there are AI controlled police basically who go around and make sure people don't pirate stuff and kill each other.
Okay.
Although you can do that, but then the police will come after you. Low sec, right? And so there's all these trade routes, because when you're on a trade route, you're in like a big freighter. You don't have much defense, so you don't want to go out into the scary null sec areas, which is the place with no security, where most of the big battles happen because there's no security there. And so you can travel back and forth between these things quite quickly. The aliens showed up in the middle of this trade route, so in a system in the middle of this trade route, and started attacking it and taking it over. And Eve being what it is, of course, there's a large faction of players who consider themselves to be on the same side as the aliens. It's unclear to me as to whether the aliens consider them to be on their side or whether they just go in and they just help out the aliens however they can.
Right.
And so they go in and started doing all this, helping the aliens attack this colony. And then some of the bigger corporations, or the tribes, or whatever you want to call them, teams in the Eve world, realized that the losing of this colony and this system would really mess up all the trade routes and mess them up in, they're these vast empires, and it's going to mess them up. So they came in to start defending it. And then, of course, there's people who are just trying to take out, there's corporations have animosities between them. And so anything that is good for one, the other one will try to stop, and blah, blah, blah. So basically there became this huge war in this thing, destroyed thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of real money, theoretically real money worth of ships, and also tens of thousands of dollars of equivalent money worth of alien ships. Obviously, nobody actually owns that money, but if somebody had paid for those ships, a lot of them would be destroyed. Mm-hmm. But the aliens prevailed. The bad guys won. Well, bad guys. So what happens is when aliens take over a system, a bunch of stuff gets destroyed, and they put in like cannon emplacements and stuff, and and the police go like, you know what? We're not gonna police that system anymore because it's controlled by aliens. So you guys are on your own. So now this trade route that was previously nice and safe and short now is either very dangerous or is like 20 times longer than it was, because you have to go like this huge, like if you can't go through the system, you have to jump all the way around and do like 30 jumps instead of 8 or something.
From 9 to 45.
There, 9 to 45.
Wow.
And so it totally disrupted things. So, which is this neat thing. Part of what is so fascinating about Eve is it's a very, user created thing. And they've, and then every once in a while, CCP will just kind of throw a wrench into things or do whatever they want. And so who knows how people will react to this? Maybe they'll set up alternate trade things or do different ideas. And it's
leaving it to the innovation of humanity to come up with a way to deal with this kind of thing.
Yeah. Which is, I think, is kind of a cool way of handling things. So who knows what'll happen with this, but I'm always fascinated by EVE Online things.
Paul, the more this happens, the more I start to wonder if this is just an elaborate setup for a last Starfighter scenario. Are they just gonna like, is some like weird humanoid alien civilization gonna show up and be like, we need the 6,000 of you that are playing Eve at like a fourth dimensional chess level to get in this ship and come with us so you can like plan how our galaxy
I
works.
guess like if they were to do a reboot, that would be kind of how they do it now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be about arcade games being
Yeah.
in weird places and how good you do at them.
How
It'd
well
be
can I play
something like Eve
Galaga?
Online or
Yeah.
Huh.
Boop, 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 boop. Let's see what else is going on here. Oh, this is actually kind of neat. Sarah Thompson, who is a is somebody, I don't know what her actual occupation is, but she produced a set of rules for wheelchair-based combat in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. So this idea that to add wheelchairs where you can like magical wheelchairs that can like float and do all sorts of cool things and have like blades coming out the sides, so you can do like the chariot thing where like you take out people as you go along and stuff.
Nice.
She came out with these a little while ago, and everyone thought it was a really cool idea. For people who want to either people who are in wheelchairs who want to play a character more akin to their experience, or people who aren't and just want to try something kind of neat and different. And so a neat company called Strata Miniatures has come out with a set of 4 amazing minifigures for your game
they look really cool
of D&D. Here, let me...
I posted the link to the article in the chat as well, but yeah.
Yeah, here's the picture of them.
They're based on actual rugby wheelchairs, according to Vegeta.
Oh yeah, of
in
course,
the chat.
wheelchair rugby, of course, yeah, with the super tilted in wheels.
For more stability.
Yeah. So super.
Yeah, I love
neat
the way
stuff.
these look. The druid is probably my favorite.
I just like, I guess the like berserker or whatever, the guy with the 2 axes.
Yes.
Just becoming like a wheelchair tornado of. I'm just imagining him like Taz, the Tasmanian devil, just like spinning throughout the entire battlefield, sucking people into the whirlwind and chopping them up. So anyway, that's not actually video game news really, but I just thought it was cool. And then also, apparently, and this is a big deal, when you make a game that is really successful on a new platform that has a lot of people that play it, people buy that game. The latest example is Persona 4 Golden on PC. And Sega is like, wow, this has sold really well. Maybe we should bring other games.
Other platforms.
Maybe we should bring other games to PC. I think this PC thing really has legs.
In fact, maybe we should do it when we bring a game out. That's a thing we should think about.
Please help me with this here then, though, because to get caught up on how this works. Persona 4 Golden is the Vita port?
Yes, so there was Persona 4. Persona 4 Golden was on the Vita only.
Right. But it was like, they made Persona 4 for the PS3.
I believe that was the PS3, yes.
Then they said, we're going to make a new version of Persona 4. We're going to call it Persona 4 Golden. We're going to add an extra character, have an extra storyline bits or whatever that's in there.
Change a few things, make some quality of life adjustments. Yeah.
And it's only going to go onto the Vita.
Yes.
And so then they said, let's take that one that was on the Vita, because we didn't have a huge install base.
Oh, sorry, PS2.
It was, Persona 4 was PS2. Thank you.
My
okay.
Sony history is a bit...
So you've got this game that probably has never come out in proper 1080p 5.1, that kind of presentation, because the Vita, I guess you could play it on the PS TV.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it worked with the PS TV.
And is that 720p or is that 1080p?
I think they're 720.
So you've got this opportunity now to be like, not only do it at 1080p or even a higher resolution and dump this onto Steam. And I'm like, that's probably what's really pushing this, is the idea that I can play Persona again, but even more prettier with even more finely detailed high definition graphics. Is that the idea behind this? Is that people are just like, I haven't played this game in 10 years.
The idea is that Persona 4 Golden was incredibly is like, I think, heralded as like the best version of Persona 4.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only on the Vita, which not everyone got.
Right.
And as some people say, it was trapped on the Vita, and they would like those games on PC, or they would like those games on the Switch.
Yeah.
So they say the game received a high score on the review sites, and as the sales prices were also quite low, sales were significantly higher than expected. Going forward, we intend to aggressively promote the porting of previously launched titles to Steam and other platforms. For new titles in the future, we are negotiating with the first parties per title and is always considering selling them on favorable terms. Under such direction, we would like to take a multi-platform rollout into account and prepare for the PC version and others from the start.
Yeah, the multi-platform from the start is the thing that gets me. Is that now, like, Persona was probably not, like, if it's your first IP, I can see not wanting to like try to make a version for everything,
right,
because you don't know,
right?
But Persona, especially when 5 hit, has been incredibly popular for some time now, and to have it be stuck, for them to be like, oh, you mean people would like this on a different thing?
Oh yeah, on a wider spread platform.
Like, yes. Yeah, they've all been yelling at you on Twitter about it for like at least 3 years now, if not longer. So I don't know why this is surprising to you.
It is nice to have the situation. I was going to say, it's nice to have the situation where the fans, really want something. They get it, and then it is successful. Like, they're rewarded. It's not like, whatever, the fans really want something, and then nobody actually buys it. But it's like, yes, we listened to the fans,
is also,
and produced it, and people like it.
Yeah. As you said, Persona 4 Golden is an older game now. Persona 5 only came out, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. Persona 5 Royal came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
People have played that. If they want to play more and you want to explore those old games, to have it come out on Steam means there's people who've never played it who can play it now.
So the question is, and this is Sega Sammy is who they're referring to, because it isn't just Atlas in this case, right? It's like
I think Sega bought Atlas.
Yeah, so their thing, I like the lead too. Most of Sega Sammy's businesses, which include pachinko, arcade, and arcade machines, and resorts, suffered due to COVID-19. So they're finding other ways to try to make money here. But the idea that they released Persona 4 Golden, which is in a way kind of a golden goose. It lines up nicely with everyone playing Persona 5. As you say, it's a way for people to play Persona 4. What does Sega have in its portfolio among all its many businesses and IPs that it owns, where they're like, this is a thing that didn't come out or didn't get played enough or didn't get whatever? Are there other? And I'm legitimately asking, are there other things that they're holding on to that they're like, oh, this was kind of locked to a platform that didn't go anywhere, so let's open that up? Like, is Jet Set Radio? Well, they did that kind of thing, right?
I mean, but then basically like, every Dreamcast game.
Right. It's like, well, what about Dreamcast games? It's like some of them have already kind of made their way in, like, but people don't want to play more Choo Choo Rocket, right? Like, it's like, and I don't know if people
Space
are really
Channel 5 is coming out, or has come out.
Right.
VR?
But didn't do as well as something like Persona 4 Golden has done. Like,
yeah, I think that game's VR only though, and that's maybe not helpful. Catherine was recently put on some other stuff, but that's for its own reasons.
What has been such like but it's like people are saying like Power Stone or like Shenmue. It's like things that you're thinking of where you're like, but I really like this. And it's like, no, I get that. I know that's not what you all sound like. But is there stuff like because Persona is one of those things where it's like you can make an objective argument that Persona is an incredibly popular series and people are like, okay, I get that. You can make an objective argument that Yakuza is a very popular series and they should release more of that, and I get that. And even Sonic the Hedgehog, I can't understand actually, but I recognize that a lot of people like Sonic the Hedgehog for some goddamn reason.
Sometimes the newer ones make it. They're very hit and miss.
Right, but what's in the Sega Sammy and subsidiary portfolio that is big enough to warrant this kind of thing where they would want to bring stuff back out in this way? I'm seeing Phantasy Star Online from the chat, and it's like that's
probably Shin Megami Tensei at this point. I mean, those are Atlas games. I don't know enough. Sega.
I mean,
Skies of Arcadia is a really good idea.
I mean, basically the entire Atlas portfolio is probably worthwhile looking at. Like, they've been very reticent to go onto PC, so I think there's a couple on PC, including Persona 4 Golden, but the rest of them I could see definitely. Chat says that is indeed how they sound.
Good.
I think
glad.
if they're all talking at the same time together, they definitely are going to get close to that sound.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting idea, and that we have seen other things be pulled up from underground, and like, it's like, well, we did port some Sonic. We made new Sonic the Hedgehog games for all sorts of platforms. Those didn't do that well. We've made other instances of these games that you guys say that you like, but they still don't sell that well. And here they are with Persona doing really well, and they're like, yes, well, in the future we're going to look at putting stuff on PC. I'm like, that makes perfect sense. But what's in your back catalog that you want to bring back that is so popular that people are like, I'm clamoring to play this? Like, there's a lot of buzz about like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yeah, that one I don't understand.
Right? And I'm not saying that it's a Sega thing, but it's like there's a lot of buzz about that. Because a lot of people are really into that game for some reason and really want to talk about it. And I'm like, that's why I bring this up. I'm like, is Jet Set Radio one of those things where it's like we can bring Jet Set Radios back in that way? Does that please a lot of people to do that? I don't actually know. But it's worth thinking about.
And yeah, I like the idea of people, the executives at Sega being like, people love Sonic, and then we brought out, we gave people what they wanted, Sonic and the Black Knight, and somehow it wasn't successful. So I don't understand what people want.
Look, we gave an OC of Sonic a gun. What more did you want from us?
Yeah. Dear. I'm surprised. Was there not a Sonic?
Like, kissed her or something, didn't he? Like,
yeah.
So, what more do you want?
What was there a Sonic movie tie-in game? It seems weird that there wouldn't be.
Not that I'm aware of. Not in the sense of like.
I'm sure it was made in Flash.
There's a game you play where you're playing the movie story. There was probably a game that came out the same year, but.
Chat says no.
Yeah.
All right, I think that is all of the interesting stories to talk about.
Now, in regards the Epic versus Apple, Epic versus Google, all of this clusterfuck of lawsuits and stuff going on, what we had in the outro kind of captures the idea where it's like, this is billions and billions of dollars of companies fighting each other about this stuff, and it's going to have far-reaching ramifications however this stuff works out. And this should just kind of be, in a way, should just kind of be a thing that's like, all right, cool, I'm just going to sit back here and watch, because we can have opinions on it, but it's incredibly complicated as an issue, and people will want to take sides, and maybe it's because I'm the age I am and how long I've lived, and I made it through the console wars in one piece, But I kind of feel like I can't find myself getting. And full disclosure, I own Apple stock, so you'd think I'd be a little more in line with like, well, I support Apple in this, and then kind of things I don't. But I also don't really support Epic, and so I don't support Google, and I kind of, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just like, I don't have any support to give for anybody on these things. I just want to kind of sit back and let it play out.
It's just tiring to watch more than anything, and they're gonna like fight, and then a thing will happen.
Yeah. And it's important to remember with this stuff that this is not, there isn't any sort of moral or ethical considerations here, right? This is purely a legal situation and a monetary situation.
It's about commerce.
But they try to sort of couch it in this kind of ethical idea that it's like, oh, they're keeping this from you, or, you know, games want to be free or have a smaller percentage of their take. You know, they're stealing this stuff and trying to sort of make this ethical argument, which, surprise, surprise, you know, you'll find that ethical argument completely disappears if they come to a agreement on the percentage of the cut, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all just trying to sort of create a narrative around what is a fairly dry lawsuit that is, you know, will be decided on the minutia of various terms of service and legal contracts.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of like fear mongering that's going on as well. There's like, oh, if Epic's developer account is pulled, does that actually mean that Unreal Engine 4 can't be used by any Apple Store developers? That's what Epic says, but are you sure you just want to trust Epic on that? Like, do you think that's really what that means? Or do you think it's actually going to have a chilling effect? Like, it's so hard, and I'm trying so hard to not argue with people in chat right now about all of this, that I'm just I just want to ignore this and be like, this is, I think, where it's going to sit, unless we see something.
There's no reason to talk about it until something actually happens.
Yes.
And Epic pushing a narrative of you all need to rise up and help us in a court battle is not worth.
Because it's not. All you're doing is fighting the court of public opinion. You're trying to make Apple feel like they're going to feel bad. And you know what? You're not going to get there.
Yeah. Instead, why not go watch that Indie World Direct and find some cool new indie games to play?
Like Spiritfarer.
Oh, God, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, cry a lot. Make friends with things that are dead and then send them to the afterlife and cry a lot. It looks amazing. I kind of want to play it, but I don't know if I have time. So,
I
thought
that Cry a Lot was just like the name of the game.
No, it's called Spiritfarer. It's you've got a boat that you can do stuff on, and you're essentially ferrying spirits to the afterlife. But you get to meet them up and build stuff, and there's some platforming. It looks really cool.
We think there's a hug button.
Pretty sure there's going to be a hug button. I've been watching, sort of half watching this game's development for a while, but not getting too into it because I didn't want to like spoil myself on it.
Yeah, you're a very cute, witchy-looking girl. I think. Maybe just
you're a very cute, witchy-looking person.
Yeah, you're a very cute, witchy-looking person. Now that I look at her, I'm kind of like them. Now I look at them, I'm like, maybe this is kind of a non-binary thing for.
They say people say it's out now, and their 100% is a hug button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's literally the thing. The Indie World video hit on whatever day it hit, because I can't remember anymore.
Tuesday.
And they had like 6 games that were out that day.
Yeah, this will be out later today, and you're like,
this is all Switch stuff, or is it?
Yeah, this is a Nintendo indie thing. And they had like a lot of really good looking stuff too. Raji, I think. Is that how you pronounce it? Looks amazing. I can't wait to try that.
Yeah, it's made by an development company in India, and it's based on Indian and Balinese or Hindu and Balinese mythology. The it stars a woman who is doing a lot of very Prince of Persia-esque stuff. It looks a little combat heavy for me. When I saw it, I was like, is this just a Prince of Persia game?
Because I mean,
But-
I was like, you
but
had
with
me
a
at Prince of
lady-
Persia game.
Right? This is like Sands of Time.
In the trailer, you see her do this wall run. That's very, very like, oh, that is this, and then there's much more combat stuff. So Beach is kind of a little on that, but I think it looks kick ass.
Yeah,
Manifold Garden is out now.
Spiritfarer is also out on PC, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
these I think
they-
start on PC.
They saw what Sega said, and they were like, "That's a great idea. We should do that."
Yeah. Like, and I mean, there's a few things coming in like 2021. Like, I've been watching Garden Story a little bit because it looks cute and might be my thing later.
I might pick up Subnautica for Switch, but that comes out next year. Subnautica, I realize, is already out on PC.
I have the problem. Because I'm dumb, and I thought Subnautica looked kind of interesting, and they gave it away for free on the Epic Store
Did they?
a while ago, and it was one of those things where I like signed up for the Epic Store and started getting free games like the week after Subnautica was given away, so I didn't get that one.
Oh,
And I was like, "Aw." And now, because they gave it away for free, when I see it and it's like, whatever, $30, $40, it seems
Yeah.
like, but maybe if I wait, it'll be free again.
I mean, they also
Which is the worst
announced,
thing, which is like, I'm sure it's most definitely worth $40 or whatever,
they
whatever it's
also
worth right
announced,
now.
was it Subnautica Zero Below?
Below Zero,
Below
which is
Zero.
the Frozen
sequel
Yeah,
Ooh.
being cold places.
Let It Go into the Unknown. Yeah, it's there's a lot of cool things that they announced, a lot of stuff that already exists on other platforms that is now also coming to the Switch, and
Yeah, like I do recognize some of these, like Hypnospace Outlaw. I know Corey played on stream. I think, I don't know for what show at this point anymore, but I remember that being a thing. So I'm like, okay, I recognize some of them. Some of them seem new. Bear and Breakfast seems cute, even though I probably won't play that.
to be clear, Bear and Breakfast, where you are a bear who runs a bed and breakfast.
Yeah. Like,
Isn't that like an actual anime?
That's Polar Bear Cafe. That's about a bear
that's
who runs
about a
cafe.
polar bear who runs a cafe. It's
Completely
slightly
different
different.
circumstance.
Like, you don't take hotel guests in a cafe.
Yeah. This looks very much about design your rooms and set up a bed and breakfast, and a whole bunch of humans will come in on a bus and want to stay at your bed and breakfast. And it looks very cute, but also looks very fiddly in terms of like layout of so like maybe I don't think I can do fiddly at this point, but
No, it's more something I want to watch somebody else play so I can be like, yes, I understand it now.
there's Card Shark, which is about how to cheat at cards. It teaches you how to cheat at cards.
Sorry, I gotta have to stop you. I just briefly looked at the page, the Steam page for Spiritfarer.
Yeah.
So it's currently on Steam for the $35 Canadian. Anyway, but under the features, play as Daffodil the cat in optional local co-op, supports remote play together.
Yeah.
You can play in remote in co-op. The second person is a cat named Daffodil.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, it's
Oh, there were some really good indie games in this thing, and I think it's worth pointing out.
Let's talk about what's coming up, because what's coming up is Friday Night Paper Fight with Commander. It's going to be who is it? It's going to be Ben Ulmer and Ben Wheeler.
I've got 2 for 1.
Yeah, Ben, and Nelson, and our good friend Olivia Gobert Hicks,
Oh, nice.
who is going to join us for Commander. And then we've got one more Valorant streaming with James and associates and friends. And then we have Carry and Play It Forward is going to be tomorrow evening for more weird monster destroying behaviors.
Yeah, I imagine he'll be able to finish it up tomorrow because it's only supposed to be around a 5-hour game.
Yeah.
Is my understanding.
Kathleen's Island Tour is on Sunday with Animal Crossing New Horizons investigating various silly islands that people have made. And then we got Rhythm Cafe on Sunday. What are you playing?
I believe Ian wants to play I don't remember which one it is. It's a pop in music. It's different than the one we played last week, and I think it has all anime music. And I think it's so it's like pop in music and anime something. And my understanding from the wiki we looked up last week while we were playing is that it's like the most expensive one for them to make because of all the licensing in that one.
Wow.
But I believe that's the one he's trying to go for.
I would argue that putting the music in pop and music kind of makes it anime music.
There's a lot of different types of music.
And then on Monday we've got Dice Friends, the continuation of our epic campaign called Best of Intentions, where Andy and Corey and Jacob are being DM'd by Dale, and they are at the moment they have been doing various jobs that involved going to like this old broken down World's Fair place. It was very creepy and weird.
I like to call it Dice Friends Boy, because Best of Attention short down spells out boy.
Dice Friends Boy.
D&D boy. You should LRRBOI. That's what the hashtag should be when we put it on. Is it hopefully we'll never see an MTGBOI.
Maybe?
I don't know what the next set's going to be, so whatever.
Anyway, that's what we got coming up. Obviously, you can check out loadingbayrun.com/live is the place to go to find all the schedules and a link to the calendar and so forth. Now, let's thank all the amazing people who subscribed during this stream. Starting with G7891 for 40 months. Thank you very much.
Bernard Recca for 43 months. Welcome back.
When you had said "and now," I thought Paul's gonna be like, "and now this," and go right to the stinger for CheckPoint or something. Be like, "Whoa, what? ChillPoint has a stinger this week? Shit!" Atomic Alchemical has been here a whole year.
This is the stinger now. This is the stinger.
Yeah.
Drazvin for 3 years. Very nice.
Nolly 3 for 36 months. That's some time.
Keep It Lobster has been here for 45 months. Welcome back.
Nice name.
Keep It Lobster.
Keep It Lobster.
Razok for 78 months.
And the Meerkat gifting the sub of what is the feeling of 2020. Damn COVID-19.
Damn COVID.
Why you gotta be such a
Damn
joy
COVID.
kill?
Asoxa has been here 41 months.
Kodatsky for 26 months.
Nataboo. 29 months, hey.
It's a very cute name.
Nataboo.
Nataboo.
Sounds like an Ewok.
Liquid Life. For 3 months, you came back. Wow, thank you so much for coming back.
Gizmo Freak 1 for 14 months.
8-bit dreams, 24 months. I wish my dreams were in 8-bit. It's got a way higher resolution than what I remember them having.
These weird pokey kind of things.
It would be less scary that way.
Ho, 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 Dutch giant. It's been here for 22 months. I don't know if ho, ho, ho is a Dutch term or not. Should be hey, 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 Dutch giant, maybe.
Nick 111947, gifted by Death Likes Cats. Thank you very much.
Pigeon Man. No, wait. Sorry. Pigeon Man for 7 months. I stressed the wrong letter.
And
Yeah, lots of A's.
bidet salesman. Sounds like me. Gifted by the Maricat. Welcome, bidet salesman, and thank you, the Maricat.
That's a tough door-to-door sell, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You open the door and be like, you look like a man who doesn't wipe his bottom very well.
Ever had your tongue licked by Poseidon? Wait, no, your asshole licked by Poseidon's tongue? That's what it...
Dear Sir or Madam, may I look at your bathroom?
I had bidet salesman, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Reese DK for 5 months.
Vampiric Sloth. 30 months. Welcome back.
And fill in the gap. It's gap filler and E-block and 321 pants off with 545 bits. Thank you so much, all three of you. And
The bits. We still doing that bit?
I don't know.
It's
Steven
been so
Universe has been
long.
over for so long.
I know, but usually there's like table bashing, and we're in a different studio, and I just don't know what to
If I
do
do that, it's
anymore,
going to make the camera shake.
Yeah,
Yeah, my mic is on the table, so it's not a good idea to bash the table.
Yeah, okay.
My parents, they had a door-to-door peephole, like door peephole salesman come by, and that's like the only thing they've ever bought door-to-door. He was like, I see you don't have a peephole in your door.
That's brilliant. You can already
and
tell
they were
if
like,
they don't have
yeah.
one.
And is like, yeah, do you want one? Okay. He like had a little like hand drill, and he just goes like, stunk, sticks it in, done.
Like 10 minutes and he's finished.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. It's like, don't need to be there. Don't need to go there.
Yeah,
they
you
don't
could-
have one.
you
Maybe
could
they'd
tell.
like one.
It's like if you had a peephole, you would be able to not let me in because you would know
You've had a people, yeah. You know immediately whether you have a potential customer or not. That's really handy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. We got LRMTG in a little over an hour, but in the meantime, Friday Night Paper Fight Commander in a little over an hour. In the meantime, talk to all y'all later. Bye.
Bye.